Welcome, Dolphins fans, haters, and everyone in between to your favorite show discussing the greatest franchise in sports, the Miami Dolphins. This is the PhinsPod. My name is Moose, your host, and today we're going to be responding to something that I frankly don't really want to respond to, but my hand has been forced. Stupidity has been put into the world with such force that I feel like it's my duty to respond. So we're going to be educating some so-called expert analysts with some intelligent insight of our own and providing something that our world has tragically forgotten all about: context. So before we get started, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a review on Apple Podcasts for the show if that's where you're listening. It really does help us out and helps other Dolphins fans find us and join the pod. So without further ado, let's dive in.
Yeah, they're going to have somebody, whether that's a Tyrod Taylor, again, an Andy Dalton, Fitzpatrick, if he's back. I would think Fitzpatrick would want to favor that and be back because he's probably seen Tua and go, he's not a better thrower than me. He's not better than me. So I want to come back here because I think I'll get a chance again to play.
Remember 3 weeks ago we talked to Tua and I asked him point blank, do you want Ryan Fitzpatrick to return? And he didn't answer the question. He danced around it. He never said yes or no about whether or not he wants Fitzpatrick back. Look,
which is a no.
What quarterback wants to be the starting pitcher and have some other guy who's going to be periodically called upon to come in and save your bacon? The mere fact that you would even suggest that they need a guy like that, whether it's Fitzpatrick, Tyrod Taylor, or someone else, the mere fact that that's even on the radar screen tells me, hey, you tried, and he's not the guy. Maybe give him one more year to see if he's the guy, but at some point you got to find out whether he's the guy. Not the guy who's there until you bench him for the other guy. Either he's the guy or he's not, because in this day and age in the NFL, it is not sustainable to have a quarterback who isn't good enough to finish every game. And it hurts me to say it. We love Tua.
Yes.
We're big Tua fans.
Yes.
But you either have it or you don't. And if you don't have it to the point where they entrust you to be the quarterback wire to wire week in and week out, then that's not the answer. That's not the guy that the Dolphins need.
We heard
torment them. Right. It's going to haunt them that they didn't take Justin Herbert. And Dolphins fans get mad when I say it, and I understand you don't want to deal with it. It's not a pleasant thought that you had Justin Herbert right there in the palm of your hand, and you could have had him.
Well,
and you didn't.
You were right. You were right during the year. I mean, that's what happens when owners make picks. That's what happens. I don't know. Again, and the owner got, Alabama quarterback, he's winning. Look at all these stats and all of that. And they got infatuated with just that aspect. Listen, if we went by that, every quarterback in Alabama for the last 12 years should have been the first pick of the draft. Like that, they win. Their stats are awesome. First pick of the draft, But the hype around Tua was so big that, they kind of fell into the trap there. Mike, there's people I trust in league circles that still don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that they draft a quarterback again, too. I've heard just from enough people that I trust to think that that's still on their radar. I doubt it, but I do think it's been a topic of conversation down there nonetheless. And, we'll see where it goes. Tua is awesome, but like they say in The Godfather, he's an awesome person. This is not personal. This is just business we're talking about here. We're talking about on the football field. He brings all the intangibles.
I didn't know which way you were going to go there when you went to The Godfather. I thought you were going to say Tua Tagovailoa sleeps with the fishes. I wasn't quite sure.
He's not Luca Brasi. He's not with the fishes yet.
Okay, so there's a lot that we need to respond to there. And there's a reason we're doing this. As Dolphins fans, it is our job to be educated and informed on our team. It's just the job of a fan. If you're a real fan, you got to know your shit. It's how we can know and trust the overall direction of our franchise, as well as talk smack to opposing fans. But when we see fallacy in the world, when we see error, it is our job to correct it, especially when that fallacy is regarding your very own team. So there was a lot that these two bozos said that we need to touch on. And as an aside, I do love Mike Florio and Chris Sims in terms of entertainers and the product that they, present. I think they make a great show, and it's entertaining and informative at times, not today. However, when you have to cover all 32 teams and their markets, us specialized pundits, us specific to specific teams, PhinsPod, the Miami Dolphins, are able to be a lot more thorough than the bird's eye view that guys like them are forced to apply to the situation. It's tough, I get it, to look at 32 teams, even if it's your job, and understand what's going on and then compare them to each other. That's hard. We struggle with just focusing on our Dolphins. So, that's something I want to sort of let be known, that I don't think that these guys are complete hacks, but in this specific topic, we gotta get into it. So they start the rant off talking about Ryan Fitzpatrick and whether or not he would want to come back to Miami. Sims points out that since Fitzy is better than Tua, he would want to come back to earn the starting position. That's false. First, Fitzpatrick is not better than Tua. He is more experienced than Tua and had far more familiarity with Chan Gailey's offense compared to Tagovailoa. That is true. So he was able to run it better in Tua's rookie season. However, this new offense that's coming in will not be a Chan Gailey offense. Regardless of what's being held over, you're assuming that that Chan Gailey's offense is going to be there for Fitz to be like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm better. Assuming going forward that Fitz and Tua would be starting from the same place with a brand new offense if Fitz were to come back, if that's the case, anyone with eyes and a brain can tell you that Tua offers more as a prospect, not just in terms of upside, like long-term potential, but in terms of present mobility, arm strength, and accuracy. Fitzpatrick was able to compensate for his lack of mobility, arm strength, and accuracy with the knowledge that he had acquired from his past 6 seasons in the offense with Chan Gailey. He knew where to take the play prior to the snap based on the defensive alignment, not based on post-snap reading of the defense. So that point right there can go away. By the middle of next season, no one should be clamoring for Ryan Fitzpatrick, or something has gone drastically wrong. So second, the fact that Florio thinks that Miami bringing in another quarterback means Tua is not the guy is asinine. Backups are a necessity in this league, Mike. Considering Tua's history as well, it would be borderline negligent for the Dolphins to not plan a contingency in case the worst happens and Tua suffers an injury. So before both Sims and Florio proceeded to claim that they loved Tua and that none of this was personal, Florio made sure to point out that the Dolphins definitely made a mistake by not taking Justin Herbert. And look, some of you may believe that as well. I know for a fact that there are those in our own fan base who feel that the die has already been cast and that Justin Herbert has already proven to be a better quarterback than Tua could ever be. And look, you have every right to believe that. But like someone who believes in Scientology, I'm going to tell you why you're a bit crazy. Here's where all Herbie over Tua people stand. Ready? Justin Herbert has all the physical tools needed from a franchise quarterback. He looks the part, and he can make every throw. He was able to pass the ball effectively down the field and made some big plays along the way. He was never benched, unlike Tua, and his coach showed full faith in him, as did his team. I mean, just considering his passing stats, yards per game, and touchdowns passed throughout the season, his numbers are just better than Tua's in every way, flat out. Therefore, good body plus good stats equals better quarterback. Now, let's contextualize. If making all the throws and body type genuinely mattered, then Drew Brees should have been worse than Mason Rudolph, right? Mason Rudolph physically looks the part. He can make every throw, big and tall in the pocket. Drew Brees struggles to throw the ball downfield. So just looking at their body types, we can make, extrapolations on how their careers would turn out, right? Russell Wilson should have been worse than Connor Cook out of Michigan State. Dwayne Haskins should be leagues better than Gardner Minshew. The body type argument is a crock. Football has proven over history that it's not the size of the player in the game, but the size of the game in the player. And that will be our dad cliche quota. It's been filled for the month, so no other dad cliche for another month. Now, secondly, turning to statistics, I'm going to read off 2 lists of players. Now, let me know what you think. I'm ready. 2 lists of separate players. Tell me if you can kind of figure out what I'm trying to do here. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, Austin Eckler, Jalen Guyton, Joshua Kelly. Again, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, Austin Eckler, Jalen Guyton, Joshua Kelly. Or Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, hell yeah, Myles Gaskin, Jakeem Grant, Lynn Bowden Jr., Durham Smythe. These were the top pass-catching options for both Justin Herbert and Tua Tagovailoa. Looking at the talent, it is clear that the Chargers had the Dolphins beat. Miami only had 2 players with over 500 receiving yards on the season, Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki. The Chargers had 4 with over 500 receiving yards on the season, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, and Jalen Guyton. Considering the talent, it is far less surprising that Herbert was able to find these guys wide open and accumulate this yardage. So it doesn't surprise you that maybe his weapons were able to get separation, find open spots in the zone at a far better rate to help the rookie quarterback in LA than what was happening in Miami, where Tua had to kind of force the offense forward because he wasn't getting that help from his skill positions. So the last point regarding Herbert versus Tua, the last thing I want to address, and I know Chris Sims and Mike Florio will never listen to this, but if they do, this is probably the most important thing I would like them to take away. And yes, I understand these are people who probably have forgotten more about football than I currently know, but after hearing that clip, it makes me question. So a lot has been made regarding the benchings of Tua and how that somehow means that he's worse than Herbert because Herbert was never benched all year. We saw Florio bring it up. We've seen other people bring it up multiple times. Like Tua got benched. I mean, that should tell you everything, right? Tua got benched. Herbert never did. And this is where context is everything. Yes, Tua was benched while Herbie was never. The reason? Tua was at the helm of a playoff contender. The weekly outcomes for the Dolphins games mattered far more to his team's overall success when compared to where he was in his development. Tua, as a rookie, had far more at stake regarding his team. Despite that, he was able to manage his way to a 6-3 record. That's good for a rookie. That's twice as many wins as losses in your first time out. Herbert never had those expectations as a Charger. Playing for a worse franchise will do that for you. He was never asked to carry postseason hopes for them, and for that reason, the pressure was immensely reduced, and there would be no reason to bench him. He wouldn't need to be benched because they were never in the playoff race. But you tell me this. If Flores was the Chargers coach instead of Anthony Lynn, they'd be a lot better off. But do you think that Justin Herbert wouldn't have been benched? You don't think Justin Herbert would have been pulled by Coach Flores in Week 13 at home against the New England Patriots? Because if the Dolphins and Tua were ever even close to being down 45-0, yeah, Chargers fans, 45-0, I am pretty sure that the starting quarterback's ass would be planted firmly on the bench. Hell, if Tua played like Herbert did when Miami played the Chargers, Flores probably would have pulled him in that game. Oh yeah, my last point. They did play each other this season. Both were on the same field, on the same Sunday, in the same stadium, playing in the same game. Not only did Tua's team win, which, is kind of the point of this game that we play, but he looked to be the better quarterback from the visuals. 2 people watched that game. You remember the outcome? You remember what Dolphins fans, Chargers fans were saying after that game? Yeah, I think this is a little bit overhyped with the Herbert train. And look, he didn't look better because he was able to throw 25 yards on a rope or stand tall in the pocket looking all majestic. No. He was the better quarterback because, like I said, he led his team to victory and made winning plays. He didn't throw an interception to Xavier Howard when his team needed him to move the ball the most. He didn't screw up and cause his team, oh wait, that was Ted Karras who fumbled the ball through his legs and would have put Miami up 21-0 in that game rather than allowing the Chargers to come back. So Ted Karras' little fumble miscue, which kept the game close, I think single-handedly changed the narrative, because if Miami and Tua were able to continue the beatdown that was happening and they won that game like 35-10, I think people would feel like, yeah, Herbert might have better stats, but like we're saying, Tua's winning the games. So look, Tua was in college. He won. He comes to Miami and he continues to win. Yes, I know there's a lot that goes into that. Defense, coaching, roster. But we've already touched on some of that. Tua had less support offensively. He had worse players around him. And yes, he was never kind of put in a position to, hey, we're down by like 30 points. I mean, except for week 17. He was never put into that position, but the pressure was there. Unlike with Herbert, where, yeah, dude, you got to throw it a bunch because we're losing, but it's also not a big deal. So all I'm saying is if you just look, Tua played in Alabama and he won. He comes to Miami and he wins. Herbert plays at Oregon and he loses. He comes into the league and his team continues to lose. Winners win and losers lose. Time will tell, but sorry, Florio, this Dolphins fan does not feel as if a mistake was made. after a full offseason being able to focus on his development as a player rather than his baseline stability, just in terms of health, being able to walk, making sure you're not developing any clots, making sure you're able to breathe properly, making sure that you're getting proper blood flow to that area of your body. No. Actually focus on the position you play as a professional athlete. I think Tua will be ready to put the league on notice. Here's the silver lining, however. All of this Herbert love and Tua slander is only setting the table up for a huge flip next season if our guy bursts onto the scene and Herbert has some sophomore struggles following 15 games of available tape for opposing coaches to study all offseason. If that happens, then I will feel the exact same. Those applauding Tua's development will still be behind the curve. So to ensure that you stay one step ahead and be like, yeah, bro, like I saw this coming. We've been talking about it for months. Be sure to subscribe to the PhinsPod. Be sure to subscribe wherever it is you're listening. And look, if you've listened this far and you haven't subscribed, like why? I'll be here and you don't want to miss it.
Tua looks right, throwing, got his man in the end zone for the touchdown. Jakeem Grant on the receiving end. Herbert, intercepted. Picked off at the 40, coming back up the sidelines and out of bounds is Xavier Howard, his 5th pick of the season.
That he feels comfortable with, and that is so important as a play caller.
Solomon Kindley in the backfield. And Tua throwing the other way to a wide open Durham Smythe for the touchdown.
Thank you guys so much for listening. That's going to do it for us here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the PhinsPod as always. I really hope you were able to get something out of the episode. It was supposed to be a roster breakdown on the offensive side of the ball, but seeing that Pro Football Talk woke up and chose war, I just had to respond. But we'll be sure to get into that offensive roster breakdown early next week, so be sure to subscribe. Remember, wherever it is that you listen, just to never miss a chance to chat about your favorite team, the Miami Dolphins. The show itself, available on all platforms, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, as well as YouTube. Continue the conversation with us on Twitter and Instagram at PhinsPod, and check out the site for news and content, phinspod.com. We also have recently launched a TikTok. Yeah, I know. Who knows if that's going to work out, but we'll be posting clips from the pod on the TikTok, as well as hopefully having some new highlight videos come as the off-season really ramps up. So be sure to subscribe at all those places. Help us out just to never miss a thing as well. I hope you have an amazing day, and until next time, stay safe. Love y'all.